Remember from your childhood the story of the little engine that could, a story of hard work and optimism, leading to a great accomplishment. Well, this is the story of the little bank that can, and it is doing so against all odds. The story begins in Gresham, Oregon, a suburb of Portland. Mbank was a 5-branch community bank that, like so many banks, would find itself in dire trouble after the Great Recession began in 2007. Timing was terrible. Its loan portfolio was deep in land acquisition, development, and construction loans. More than $86 million in ADC loans, 36% of the portfolio. It was a rough ride. The next 2 years saw a further and significant deterioration in asset quality. A cease and desist order signaled the bank was on the brink of failure. Net losses exceeded $14 million. By the next year, Mbank's coverage ratio exceeded 300%. In the middle of the next year, its Tier 1 leverage reached 3.5%. These were dark times for Mbank. Federal regulators shared that banks with such metrics had a 95% chance of failure or being sold as distressed. Something bold had to be done. That's where the innovation began. If there was any way for this little bank to survive, it had to admit staying the course wasn't working. So the board of directors turned to its young CFO for fresh ideas and a new approach. With a background not in lending, but in finance, HR, compliance, and IT, now interim CEO Jeff Baker put the wheels in motion to deal with the two biggest challenges, troubled assets and capital. One of his biggest decisions was to bring in expertise the bank didn't have. He wasn't afraid to reach out for help.
When I took over, I knew we'd been kicking the troubled asset can down the road for quite some time. Our first priority had to be dealing with that issue. The alternative is failure. As lenders and bankers, we're good at making loans. We're not good at solving problem assets. We quickly moved to hire Guardian to bring in that critical expertise to help us deal with those issues. We all rolled up our sleeves and quickly worked to resolve those issues in a timely manner. We had to. The alternative was not acceptable.
With the help of Guardian, the bank began the arduous climb and the tough task of disposing of troubled assets through strategic and timely marketing and sales. But that was just part of the problem. Baker inherited a staff convinced the bank would fail. Morale was terrible. Tough decisions had to be made. The staff that once numbered 125 was pared to 43, and other overhead costs were cut. Morale hit rock bottom. He quickly designed an innovative plan to restore employee hope and faith in Mbank. He did such things as deliver Thanksgiving pies to employees at work and at home. He developed an aptly named Mbank Survivor game, creating employee tribes, engaging in friendly competition, boosting morale not only with a series of team-building games, but with prizes and bragging rights. All of a sudden, employees took notice. This guy was determined the bank would complete its journey. Quarterly forums were held at each branch. No subject was off limits. Ongoing and honest communications told it like it was. The company picnic and holiday party were reinstated. And finally, frontline and middle management received raises after a 3-year freeze. Senior management wages remained frozen. And what was happening during all of this time? By 2012, the little bank, with only a 5% chance of surviving, had returned to profitability. The bank raised capital and reported earnings of close to $2 million or 1.2% ROAA. ADC loans were reduced to $7.9 million or 6.4% of outstanding loans. The coverage ratio dropped to 68%. The Tier 1 leverage ratio exceeded 7%. And Jeff Baker, the 40-year-old interim CEO, received regulatory approval to become the permanent CEO. One more thing, the innovation was noticed by competitors. Innovation like progressive, active, and very open communication with regulators. That capital raise, it was designed to preserve off-balance sheet tax benefits. It didn't raise enough to lift the C&D, but it did bring the bank to a safe and stabilized level. He also tackled technology, doing a core conversion, a daunting task for any bank, and committed the financial resources to make sure customers would experience the modern capabilities of their bank. The little bank that can was getting media attention and became the center of local banking industry conversation. And all of that innovation and more attracted top talent.
I competed against Mbank for 8 years, and they had a very good following in the community I was in. So the opportunity to finally work for Mbank was very enticing. And what made me want to work for Mbank, after Jeff and I talked numerous times, was the young leadership. It was the first time I had met a CEO president that was the same age that I was in the banking industry. And I felt like somebody was finally talking the same language as I was. We had the same idea about technology and innovation and the role of a community bank moving forward in the post-2008 downturn. And so after numerous conversations, I felt like it was a really good fit for me. And so I decided to join the Mbank team.
And this year, the PCA directive letter was lifted. Another milestone marker is passed. While the track now appears to lead to a bright future for Mbank, the challenge has not ended. There is more to be done before all the pieces fall into place and the C&D is resolved. There is more innovation ahead.
So let's innovate. Niche strategies. Everybody's talking about that. Who's actually doing it? We are. Personality assessments. We're putting our employees bank-wide through a personality assessment program to make sure we have the right people in the right job. Technology. We're focused on ensuring we have the latest technology, but we need to innovate and ensure we do what it takes to make our customers' lives easier. Risk management. Even that needs innovation. Capital stress testing not required for small banks? We're doing it. Innovation got us out of this mess. Innovation will ultimately determine our success.